Here she comes. Oh, she's an absolute monster. So let's think what we're doing. I got all excited now. That fish was absolutely stunning and massive. So it doesn't take you very long to put a weight of those units together. We've had 2 fish for close to £40 now, which is just unbelievable. So just focusing on that like 20-25 metre line, bomb and pellet, and then deep waggler if the wind allows and the fish want to come up, just to cover our options. So have we got a skimmer or have we got a carp? That's got to be a carp, that one. Yeah, it's just, you can feel the weight against the rod. That was a pretty quick bite, that one as well. So I've fed 4 pellets twice and chucked in, and that's been in the water 2.5 minutes, say. And then it's just a little pull round. I was like, is he a skimmer? If he's a skimmer, it's a world record skimmer. Right then folks, you join us today at a windy Larford Lakes for a spot of rod and line fishing on the Specimen Lake. We are attached to one of Larford's famous carp on the old bomb and pellet. So we're going to be running through a bit of rod and line fishing today, not a pole in sight. That's a nice fish, that is. Nice scaly mirror carp. So just focusing on that like 20-25 metre line, bomb and pellet, and then deep waggler if the wind allows and the fish want to come up, just to cover our options. And hopefully we can get some of these beautiful Larford carp on the bank for you. Look at that for a stunning Larford carp. If you want to find out how we've caught her and hopefully some more, please carry on watching. So while we're waiting for an angry carp to pull our rod in, we'll just run through bait. So yes, mega simple in the fact that we've got some Fisher 8mm pellets. But little things like hook baits always do make a difference. So I've just got a selection of different oiled up 8mm there, a few red ones, some lighter ones, some darker ones, and then a mix and match of some different brighter coloured pellets. I'm just watching my tip as we go along, should be waiting for the clutch, and some different size wafters. But what I like to do of late is fish like a 7mm wafter. Let's bring that into shot, and an 8mm pellet alongside it, so you've got like a little bit of a snowman rig, so different to the normal double 8mm pellet, single 8mm pellet, or well, you don't really tend to fish a wafter on a bomb by itself, but yeah, just mixing it up a little bit and you can fool those crafty fish that have seen it all before. So that is the plan. We've just got to put it into action now. There we go, into another lively Larford carp. So as we play this one, we'll just run through what we've got in the way of hardware. So we've got a nice reliable 10-foot Horizon Pro feeder rod. It's got a nice bit of backbone for these large specimens, and that's teamed up with one of the beautiful new HX Pro 3000 reels that genuinely are a dream to use. Oh, is this going to be a silly one? We're going to net him quickly. If I weren't staring at my reel then, I think he was ready for netting. Let's get him. Oh, he's deep. There we go. Nice fish. Nice fish. So nice scaly fish, we'll put him into the net. Quite heavy shears as well. There we go. Beautiful. Yeah, and then that was just me waffling about how nice the rod and reels are. And then when it comes down to end tackle rig wise, I've got one of our swanky panky inline pellet bombs. These come in, what do they come in? 10 gram, 7.5 gram and 5 gram. Today with the wind, as I say, just plopping out that 10 gram. You just get a nice little plop with it, you can feather it down nice. Then we've got 12 inches of 020, and then we've got a super duper prototype hook in a size 12 and a band, and I say varying between different pellet or wafter combinations, just trying for one of those great big carp. Nice regular casting, keeping an eye on the time, and if that wind drops and the fish do come up, we have got our Wagler rods raring ready to go. So folks, something that is worth mentioning, obviously with a big expanse of water, you can be a bit vulnerable to the elements. The tows increase because the wind's increased, it's bouncing back off this bank, and there's a real undercurrent as well. So if you were trying to fish pole in these conditions, your rig's going to be all over the place. You'll have to fish with a heavier tackle than what you wanted to. Whereas we're just plopping out that little light bomb and we're fishing. Oh, that was another big lad showing there. I think we're going to have to slug that Waggler in a minute because there are a few fish starting to show in my feed, which is nice. So we'll keep some pellets going in as I'm waffling along, and hopefully that we can get that Waggler out and it's going to sit still enough to get a bite off one of those great big carp. Right, so talking about feeding, from when you're changing from, say, fishing the bomb to picking up the Waggler, I've been trying to pouch a few more pellets twice to get the fish on the bottom, but there is a few fish starting to show. So instead of like pouching it twice and then leaving it, I'm going to start, once I pick that Waggler up, just pinging a few more pellets a bit more regularly, less amount but much more regularly, to try and bring them up off the bottom. But saying that, with that like crosswind coming across us, with these new Wagglers, they do cast really nice and you can punch through it, but I might have to eat my own words and still feed a few more pellets just so I can group them a bit tighter, as opposed to the regularity of, I could speak properly, regular small amounts. So it's just trying to match the conditions really. So say we've got strong crosswind, but when it's getting too much and those waves are really picking up, just pause, just put your catapult down. There's no point doing it and it ending, I don't know, 5-10 metres to the right and it's nowhere near where you're fishing. So that wind will drop in a second again. I've got my pouch of pellets ready. Can pouch it like so. Oh, big one topped at 40 metres then, way past where we're feeding, but nice to see some fish moving. Leaning into it, that's nice. Mr. Duck's liking the taste of those pellets, and then the wind's got up again, so I'm just going to leave it again. Seems to have like a big gust, it drops for a second, I can ping a few pellets, but it's there prepped, ready to go. But it's getting to that time of day now where we've built the peg up, we've caught some on the bottom, on bomb and pellet. Hopefully this wind allows us, as I say, just to pick that Waggler up, because I think they are starting to come up out that deeper water and starting to compete for some feed. And we'll look to exploit some pellet Waggler fish. Every time I go to pick that catapult up, it goes windy. Come on. Drop, please, wind. It's being nice and patient. best bait on the bomb by far today, like just a standard bomb and pellet, is I've had a skimmer on it. Putting that like little snowman rig of a 7mm wafter and an oiled up pellet has brought all the bites today on the bomb. So we're going to make this the last one on the bomb, because as I say, oh, it's lively. There are some fish starting to move and crash about in the upper layers. So we'll get this little twister in, and then as I say, I'm itching to pick up that Waggler rod. See if we can get connected to one of those monstrous beasts that live in this lake. So Waggler fishing for me is all about getting into a nice rhythm, so making sure your rod's nice and comfortable in your lap so you can pick straight up into that fish. So we have got that naughty crosswind today, so I have sunk my tip in the water, whereas normally you haven't got your Waggler trying to drag through or anything, whereas I've got it in the water so I can just try and counter the Waggler pulling through too much, but I can still just pick up straight into that fish. Well, that's what we're trying to achieve anyway. So a few pellets in our pouch, gonna lean into it, feed those few pellets, and then we're just going to whip that Waggler out, feather it down, making sure the pellet lands past the Waggler, and you get the plop and the fold over of our new swanky panky foam Wagglers and the plop of the pellet as well, and then we're falling down to like 3.5 foot of water, and that is sitting fairly well. I don't know if that was, seem to wobble more than fully go under. So I'm just going to pause again, and I'm going to cast into my feed. So a few pellets, leaning into it. Fish rolling at distance. Feathering that Waggler in. Oh, I shouldn't have cast then, I'm just getting excited. But it's fine, we're building our peg up. So we've got a few pellets again in our pouch. Leaning forward into our feed. Just get my reel nice. Got my finger on my spool so I can feather her in. Try not to kill the duck. Pellet plops past. I cast that at like 11 o'clock and it's landed at, oh, I don't know if you won't have seen that on the camera, but where I've cast, there was a carp just roll right next to it and think we are into it. Yes, that's what you want. Fed those pellets, it's gone slightly to the right, cast the Waggler in, again tried to allow for the wind, it went slightly to the right, over the top of where we fed those pellets. I've seen a carp roll, and then nice indication on the float, and we've picked up into him. Poetry in motion. Sorry, I do get a bit excited when I'm rod and line fishing. So let's talk through, I'm going with the buzzword today is going to be hardware, so let's talk through our hardware, folks. So our hardware for our Waggler setup, we have got a 12 foot Horizon Pro Waggler rod, which you can see is a lovely through action rod, teamed up again with a 3000 HX Pro reel. And then we've got nice light 018, just concentrating where he is, 018, that's the Horizon Mono. And then down to our end tackle, we've got one of the lovely new, oh look at him going for it, lovely new foam Wagglers in a 4 gram, which is safe for the condition. For the conditions, I thought he'd come off then, but he must have just rolled round him. Punches through that wind really well. And I do prefer fishing with a 12-foot Waggler rod for all my Waggler fishing. Just when I'm going from anything from like a mugging Waggler, for me personally, I can just punch it that little bit further and that little bit more accurate. And then, as I say, we've got an 020 hook length, again with a prototype hook, and we're fishing in, say, 3.5 foot deep. I was going to say water then, but yeah, 3.5 foot deep. And then our Waggler is just connected with one of the Waggler connectors, and it's just loop-to-loop connection, so you couldn't get much more simple than that, to be fair. Just about being nice and routined and keeping the feed going in. On the subject of feeding whilst you've got a fish on, I think when it's absolutely solid, you want to be feeding continuously whilst you've got the fish on, but there's that big in here, you just want to concentrate on landing the fish. Here she comes. Here she comes. Another beast from the deep. Come on, Mrs. Larford Carp. There we go, beautiful. Yes! Come down onto the spreader block. Oh, she's an absolute monster. Look at that for an absolute, I can't even hold her. She's beautiful. Beautiful Waggler caught, Larford Lakes, specimen, common carp. Absolutely buzzing. So that wind is really getting up now. We'll just try and punch that. Oh, that 4 gram still punched out lovely then. So concentrate on what we're doing, flicking that Waggler out. That was horrendous. We're trying not to catch the duck. I have got another Waggler rod set up, which I am going to implement now. So exactly the same setup. Let's just try and hook the hook onto the ring, but I am just going to swap that one for a 5 gram Waggler, as I say, just because the casting has gone a little bit wayward because of the waves and the wind. So that was a 4 gram, swap into a 5 gram, and I've got the option of a 6 gram as well, which, to say, is still a light Waggler considering the conditions that we're faced with. So I'm just going to pause it there, attempting to feed some pellets. That's all right condition wise, and we'll do that again. I think when it's windy as well, you can get away with feeding more. So punching that out. So something might get overlooked if you're new to pellet Waggler fishing, or if you've done it in the past. I'm casting in and out so regularly because the window that I'm looking to catch the fish at is just while that pellet is falling through the water. So when it's got to that 3.5 foot depth of water, I think it's almost pointless just being suspended there, especially when it's like going through. So I'm just giving it like 5, 10, 15 seconds. That one had just settled. We did have an indication. Is how I would normally fish a pellet waggler. There are some weird venues where you just chuck it out and you leave it and you fire pellets around it. But 90% of your pellet waggler fishing, you'll catch them on the fall through. Got every duck within a 5 mile radius in my peg, which I don't think is a bad thing. We just don't want to catch one, because I had duck last night. Don't want it 2 nights on the bounce. There we go, in our feed. Changed to that 5 gram waggler, just so we're a bit more accurate, and that clutch is absolutely screaming off. So what a fantastic way of fishing. It really is one of those methods, the more you put into it, the more you cast, the more you feed, the more you keep plopping it in. You can almost antagonise one into taking it, and we're connected again with what could be a serious fish. It doesn't feel as big as the last 2, and the way it charged off normally indicate, oh, there's one little stocky topping under our feet now. It's all kicking off. So we slogged that waggler for 4.5 minutes that time, and then we're connected into another fish. So it doesn't take long to amass a weight. So I'm just going to concentrate, as I say, playing the fish. Just keeping the rod nice and low, leaning it across my mid-rift, and just winding and pumping the fish. So it's always important when you're rod and line fishing to making sure you're keeping in contact with the fish properly. So if the fish, as it is, it's changing direction now, so I just need to step over because he's swimming across to my left and bring the rod across to my right so I can keep in contact with him. So I'm keeping it nice and low. He's up on the surface there, but I'm keeping my rod nice and low because I don't want to pull him up in the air when he's far out. I want to keep him low in the water. Nice fish again. Common, that's why he was angry. And I'm going to try and bring my rod up and scoop him. So he's nodding about on the surface, lift my rod up, scoop him, nice big landing net, and there we go. Nice angry coming. And I'm going to bring around, come down onto the spreader block and lift up. And then I've got my landing net in my lap, my landing net pole on my pole roller. Just bring my legs together. Angry fish. Rod down. We're nice and safe at that. Just let him kick. And then away we go. Fishing our keep net. Thank you, Mr. Carp. Just going to move that waggler out of shot. Without chucking my rod in, and then just concentrate on making sure he goes out head first. And then before I do anything else now, I'm just going to pick that catapult back up because we concentrated on catching the fish. Patch those pellets in. I'm just going to do that again. And then picking her up on my index finger. I'm lying to you, it's my middle finger, not my index finger. Feathered her down. So on that fall through again and straight into a fish. Really quick bite that was, so that was within a minute. Nice. So as we were before, just keeping her nice and low until she's ready to be netted. It's amazing, I haven't picked a Waggler rod up since last year, and it's been what, 20 minutes of bag casting and just getting your eye in. Once you've got your eye back in again, your casting improves and your bite ratio improves as well. So you're not going to get it perfect first time. But say, once you've done it for a little bit, it's like anything. You just get in the rhythm of it, get in the routine of it, and you're rewarded with regular bites. It's not the biggest fish, but as I say, nice quick bite. It's fish in the net, if we get her in. There we go. Little baby one. So in summary, that has been a fantastic few hours fishing here at Larford Lakes, catching some early on a bomb, and then as we've progressed through the session and got the fish competing, changing to the Wagler. Just hopefully it's demonstrate the benefits of not being pole obsessed all the time. The conditions have been poor at best. There's no chance of like fishing long pole and slapping a pellet that's really good here. Just fishing past the feed and catching some great big carp has been a really interesting afternoon. Hopefully you can take something away from today's session and put it into your next match or pleasure session. Thank you for watching.